I prefer Earl Grey personally, and we're jumping into Fnatic versus XL. To get a little bit more serious, I'm Quickshot, joined by Froskuren. And what are we expecting today? Fnatic have been on fire the last couple of weeks. XL have shown some definite signs that Youngbuck has had some influence in their gameplay, but there's no doubt about it, this is a tough task for XL.
I just hope that this draft phase is super fun because you get Youngbuck versus his former team. And yeah, you're still in difficulty. Like, this should be heavily weighted towards Fnatic. I think the crowd can get behind that. I see a lot of Fnatic flags.
Yes.
This is the Fnatic arena. Fnatic are head and shoulders such a powerful team, but Youngbuck should know this team inside and out. So how is he able to maneuver around a draft to get XL a shot here?
If there was anybody that could get under the skin of the Fnatic players, it is Sir Youthful Buck himself. What does Youngbuck have prepared in the draft? And actually, next question, Froskuren, which of these teams is going to have the more interesting level 1? We will get to that in a moment or two as Pantheon makes his first appearance of week 3, if I recall correctly, followed by the Xayah, and on the other side, Akali. Thus far, 2 previous games, Soraka, Syndra, and Set have shown their faces, and Set once again, red side first rotation ban.
So I just want to kind of make some soft predictions about things to look for in this draft phase. Bwipo is a guy that has some really unique pocket picks. I think everyone will kind of gravitate towards things like his Swain, like his Rengar, but Expect and Bwipo are both amazing Gangplank players, and both of them think that they can play either side of the matchup or find the counters. So I'm curious if we're going to see a situation where Fnatic want Expect to take a Gangplank so they can get that Rengar matchup that they seem to value so highly.
Is it good? Do you like it? We know Bwipo likes it. Do you like it?
I like it when it gets ahead.
Okay.
But I just feel like Gangplank, even if he gets put down, he can still just do so much more easily than a Rengar can. But, I mean, that's not really playing Limit League of Legends, so.
No, it is not. And Bwipo definitely tested himself to the limit last week with that Rengar matchup. The last ban was Aphelios and Gragas from Fnatic and XL, respectively. Soraka is open and available. Does Rengar run into Soraka? We'll find out later.
Soraka would be actually a cool pick here because obviously if Syndra just blows her ultimate, Soraka just presses R and basically eats all of that damage back up. So it is actually a possibility that we see the Soraka there. I think this early on, teams will just tease it because it's something that's so common flying around draft phase. But I do like the Syndra priority. We've seen it banned majority of the time today, but it just goes to show the flexibility of a team like Fnatic that they can probably play this Syndra anywhere in between Nemesis and Rekkles. And again, shout out to Rekkles. It used to be not a couple of years ago that people would always levy criticism at his champion pool. He can only play a certain amount of champions. He can't play the mages.
Yep.
Like, that time has come and gone.
And of course, we're going to see the Thresh locked in here for Hylissang. So securing himself that option fairly early on in the draft.
Someone checked Fnatic's social. I'm sure they've posted the gif where Hilly just whops himself in the face.
Yes, exactly. And now all of a sudden, Misfortune is there to round out the duo lane. So Gangplank is now secured. The gauntlet has somewhat been thrown, and you have to anticipate that Fnatic were aware of this, but what is their answer? That's the real question.
So Bwipo feels really confident in the Aatrox Gangplank matchup, either side of it. He feels confident to take Swain into Gangplank, and he feels confident to take Rengar into Gangplank. So one of these champions is going to get through, or he could also just kind of fall back to an Ornn, decide to have a gentleman's handshake and be like, we'll both be nuisances in team fights.
All right, one of the other Bwipo specials in the Aatrox as well. Somewhat taken out the pool. Rumble was banned out here by Fnatic. So anticipating that somewhere else. That's a surprising ban to me, to a degree.
It's actually interesting. So Fnatic always ban Rumble, regardless of what side they are, and regardless of kind of where they ban it away. And I'm sure Bwipo could play it, but I went and checked his history, and the last time he played Rumble was Season 7, and he had a single game on it. So it's actually something that as Rumble continues to rise up in priority and is like a flex pick, to watch if that's almost one of the champions that kind of fell through the net in terms of how versatile Fnatic's drafting is, because they almost always ban Rumble.
Yeah, definitely the case. And what does XL do now? So they've got the Job and the Gangplank and the Senna. As far as supports, Nautilus is taken away from the pool. Toure needs to decide what champion he's going to lock into this Misfortune Thresh combination. and he's going to go for the Tahm Kench, saving the single target. Maybe if there's a Rengar here and you can devour somebody who gets jumped on, that could be another option.
It's also just an answer into Thresh. Obviously, his options were, you could have seen the famous Torre Braum. Again, we talked at
Would have
length
preferred that.
why it works really well, but when you're against the Death Sentence or even the Scatter of the Weak, the single target CC lockdown, having something like a Tahm Kench is always going to be exceptionally valuable. And the one champion we didn't mention of Bwipo's is reaching down deep and finding that Urgot pick.
And of course, the Urgot single target execution, Unleash Power, single target, Death Sentence, single target. I think this Devour from Torre could be very important, assuming only one person is the target, of course. The team composition will be rounded out with Selfmade running the Olaf, and there's one last pick in here for XL to round out their draft.
You would expect that this is going to be the mid lane, knowing that it is going to be a Syndra. Things like Lissandra, LeBlanc, all available. You could also go for the Orianna yourself. We talked about the Soraka.
Would it work in the composition?
Yeah.
Damn it. All right, so it's going to be the LeBlanc instead. I would have liked to have cast a Soraka game, just for the fun of it, personally. But it will be the LeBlanc to round it out. So what kind of looks like a fairly sort of traditional team comp on the XL side and the Fnatic side. On the Urgot, a little bit, you know, out there, but the rest of it pretty same. What do you make of both as you zoom out and see how they face up against each other?
I like the word that you use in traditional for XL because I absolutely agree with you. This is a pretty stock and standard composition that we would see loaded onto 2020. For Fnatic, obviously you have that extra flavor of things like the Urgot coming out. Usually how Fnatic do use a champion like Urgot isn't necessarily lane dominance. It's more so the fact that you don't have to pump a bunch of resources into it for it to be successful. Now that doesn't mean that Bwipo can't be feeling himself and possibly look to try to find like a 1v1 scenario, but I don't think that we'll see Selfmade spending a lot of time up with his top laner, and this is more about how the Olaf is going to be getting into Caedrel's face and playing around hilly on that Thresh, because the Death Sentence into Olaf steamrolling into your lane, really strong, so Torre has to be on point for Kench.
Ooh, going to be so fun to watch. I think a lot of credit to Torre. He's looked very good in the last few weeks, and so has XL sort of overall. As far as the split is concerned, there's a lot of Fnatic fans here looking forward, seeing what they can do. And that man on your screen, Nemesis, he got the first pick. Syndra will be coming up against Mickey's LeBlanc. The Battle of the Brits, as the Machine would call it. Fnatic will be taking on XL. And we are back. A lot of the preparation we had coming into this game, talking a lot about the top lane expectation setting. And Bwipo, he loves some of his options into Gangplank. He's run Urgot versus GP, did it once at Worlds, did it here on our own stage. I believe just lost Summer as well. So fairly recently, and now we get to see how well he's going to match up against Expect.
And Trevor, when you and I were preparing for this game, the first thing that we talked about is we talked about the Gangplank, because we knew that this is like not only such a high priority champion pretty much everywhere, but specifically between Expect and Bwipo, and the confidence that Bwipo has to, again, play this matchup on either side of it, to try to find different ways to maneuver around it, but then the danger there of giving away such a powerful pick that scales so well, can absorb most lane phases, has so much punch, and then piloted by Expect, who I think is a phenomenal Gangplank player. Probably the most underrated player in the LEC is probably a guy like Expect. In fact, probably the most underrated team in the LEC is XL.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. And of course, Expect last week versus the Mad Lions plus 17 CSD, went 4-1-9. His Gangplank was exceptional.
They're just punching each other.
And the thing is, Frost, after we had a lot of fun, and we really did have a lot of fun with this Gangplank versus Rengar / whatever discussion, the next thing we talked about was what were the level ones going to look like? Either there was going to be loads of shenanigans or just the defensive start. We got the defensive start. And then finally that both of these teams, with an element of sort of Young Bucks impact, influence, if you will, they've both got fairly solid opening 5 to 10 minutes, you know, fairly clear game plans. And if either team gets ahead or the game plan goes the way they want it to, they are able to execute on it very well. So I want to see who will get an advantage in the early stages of this game.
I feel like Excel are a really well drilled team. It's like you can see the fingerprints or the blueprints of kind of the coaching staff behind them. Their first 10 minutes, such as like with the Morgana TP that we saw last week, and to that pre-planned dive, it is just so crisp and clean. Whereas there's a bit more creativity with Fnatic. They hit you hard, they hit you fast. They're very quickly able to figure you out, to problem solve, and then come up with creative solutions. So that's what I always look for when I get to watch Fnatic. Is we said that Selfmade probably wouldn't be hugging Bwipo, but when the wave is this perfect...
Well, flash for flash, not going to be able to get the fling backwards. The trade of summoners, and all of a sudden Expect is a juicy target for Bwipo and Selfmade. Unfortunately, that ward instantly cleared out. Caedrel is now going to put some pressure inside the jungle of Fnatic. Nemesis will find himself a stun onto Mickey and then step back.
Something to take notice with Excel is that they almost always start with at least one member having access to Sweeper. Obviously, if you look across all the trinkets for Fnatic, everyone has their yellow trinket right now, whereas Excel will, again, almost always start at least one member with Sweeper. Usually they do use it in level 1s for like delayed evades or splitting map. This time around, though, things were very quiet in the level 1. I'd have to go back and watch it and kind of see why they went for such a defensive start, but typically it is indicative that they're going to be moving into the jungle, and it's more about that neutralizing game.
And as it stands, the bottom lane just pushing evenly. Teleport coming in the middle lane, taking a look down the TPs. 1, 2 on the side of Fnatic, 3 on the side of XL. Selfmade already had an early impact in the top lane, could have secured more. Didn't work out this time around. Both junglers looking to find a way to influence. Now, Caedrel sniffed his way into this top lane. If Bwipo decides to go for an engage, he could be in trouble. There's no support from anyone else on the Fnatic side, and the wave is pushing.
Yeah, it's trying to punish Bwipo. Hold it.
Oh, Nemesis needs one more, so not going to find it. Selfmade, how far does he chase? While that's going on, it's a 2-on-1. The flag, the drag, the barrel as well. No flash for Bwipo. He's trying to use those shotgun knees as best as he can, and his first blood to Expect Gangplank, and a huge CS wave in front of him to push down. But I think Bwipo should be able to come in and clean up most of it.
Yeah, and if he TPs in, Selfmade is actually here. This is some of that creativity that we're talking about. Selfmade's going to run in for a gank and see if he can catch him.
All right, Expect will not be caught out by the undertow, and as it stands, Expect and XL, they get first blood on the Gangplank. One of the players that we're most excited to see on the champion.
That's actually just a great heads-up play from Expect. There are so many top laners that would fall prey to, again, that type of adjustment from Fnatic, where the TP is coming in. You don't expect the Olaf to be flying up there and looking for the reach-around gank. As for Caedrel being so patient in that brush, yeah, Fnatic won into the mid lane, forcing Mickey off the wave, but there was just no other option for Caedrel. The bot wave has actually been frozen for a really time by Senna and Kench, so Caedrel really had to force that gank, and he's lucky that he took advantage of Bwipo's tendencies to overreach on waves.
Yeah, especially with that many minions. Playing into Bwipo's mentality, shall we say. You didn't need to be Youngbuck to be able to do that. Yep, a little bit of a head scratch there, buddy. I think that one you kind of
careful.
Caught out on. Mickey will survive long enough for now. Caedrel's just in range. This is problematic for XL because Nemesis got Syndra as the first pick, and frankly speaking, he has been smacking Mickey since minute 1.
I mean, the thing is that Nemesis is, I think, very easily the second best mid laner in the league right now, and he's just trying to find his final form so one day he can contest either perks or caps. Take your pick of who he wants to surpass.
Well, he's having a very good start right now. Expect there's no flash available to him. Level 4 on Selfmade's Olaf. Cannon Barrage is available to Expect and has just been thrown down. Bwipo is going to throw it out. The Fear Beyond Death is available, and he should be able to grind him in his gears. But the tower helps out! It's a double kill that Fnatic were not expecting.
A disaster for Fnatic fans, but that feels so good for Expect. The hard punish. Dive me. I don't have flash. I'm delicious. It's easy. Destroys them with that ultimate. Destroys them with the tower.
Gangplank's strength and impact on a game cannot be understated. He is 3-1 at 7 minutes on a player that is exceptionally proficient on the Gangplank.
Yeah, and now things will get pretty easy because he got a large chunk of change into his pocket here. So let's see where things went wrong. So the ultimate comes out immediately.
Towered aggro is just simply too much.
I mean, from what I see, he's really just kind of face-tanking this, but he dies before the execute comes.
That's why that allows the additional auto and passive. XL Esports, tra-la-la-la-la. Something like that, right?
I'm going to say unlucky. I'm going to say really unlucky.
I'm mostly doing it just to annoy the fans so I can look in the eye right now, which is quite fun.
The angry Fnatic murmurs, oh, but
well, look,
it was like 0.5 away.
As it stands, Sheen picked up and the Cull. I quite like this. It's still early in the game, and he's already been accelerated on the Gangplank, so the Cull will again just kind of boost you up just a touch more. Mickey tries to get a trade on Nemesis and doesn't really work out in his favor. As it looks right now, Fnatic, they're still in touching distance of the gold lead, but it doesn't have a huge disadvantage right now. There's got to be a little careful of this Gangplank in the coming minutes.
And kind of how I've watched the Syndra-LeBlanc matchup from a lot of our top-end LEC mid laners, it's about the scatter of the week, obviously with the hard CC anytime you're facing a LeBlanc, and how the W or how the distortion will interact with the scatter of the week. Like if LeBlanc ever just jumps straight at Syndra, it's probably going to give her a free stun unless you're focusing on your timing. And if she hits the stun, she'll probably get a free Q. She's going to hit you really hard, then press R and just pop you.
Ooh, almost caught the death sentence. But it didn't land this time around. And we're nearly 10 minutes in, Frosk. One of the things we talked about was how if either of these teams can play out the early game fairly well, they set themselves up in a great position going forward. Expect has kind of solo played this game for the time being. Fear Beyond Death into the flay, the death sentence, the railgun from Patrik keeps Expect alive a few seconds longer, but it's Selfmade that picks up the kill. Patrik managed to keep Expect alive just a moment longer, but a lot expended just for that kill.
And it's the faster first rotation from Fnatic to unlock Hilly and get him there. They wanted the Herald, but it was the fact that Expect was overextended that they were able to then double up and pick up that kill. 8 seconds for Gangplank to respawn. Does have ultimate, does not have TP, as the rest of Excel want to fight this.
This is very, very slow. 2.5 members nearby. There goes Caedrel and Torre. The tongue lash goes down. Cataclysm locks in too. Mickey will get some damage as Caedrel gets the shutdown. Hilly is picked up by Expect, and XL sneak the Heralds.
Very well drilled team from Excel. They sat into Fog of War, they had the control vision in front of them, they waited patiently until Expect had respawned and the Gangplank ultimate was ready to go, and then they jumped in. And it's simple things, but that coordination made the difference there for Fnatic not to double down on killing Expect and rotating into Herald.
All credit to the XL Esports players. The heads-up play, the patience, and the understanding to move in when was the right time.
Yep. And even though the Gangplank, I mean, it did damage on like the back half, but it also just like split Syndra completely from assisting her team there. Like maybe if Nemesis is able to participate in that fight, they trade back and you get a different outcome.
Now, of course, it is still only 1,000 gold lead. Yes, there's a Herald. Yes, there's a Mountain Drake. I don't want to disregard those facts. But coming into today, Fnatic were the favorites to win this game. There were some whose expectations were Fnatic would be able to smash this game. The early game has gone the way of Excel. Expect plus Caedrel been able to outplay and extend this advantage on the Gangplank, but the real test is now gaining enough of an advantage to truly be able to dictate the entirety of this game, and maybe the Herald can be used to do that.
And Excel have been put in this situation. Last week, it didn't end very well for them. It felt like their composition just didn't have enough damage tools, particularly that Morgana game against Misfits. Whereas this time around, I think their draft super stock standard, very easy to execute on. They have scaling options, they have mid-game options, so it should be a much easier task now that they have a lead to actually play pretty proactively with it.
And of course, we've not actually seen too much of the bottom laners. I mean, Toure and Hylissang have got involved sort of in the mid lane and the Rift Herald to lesser degrees. But now you can see Rekkles and Hylissang, they've lane swapped up top. Expect down the bottom lane, he's up 1,600 gold over Bwipo right now. But as we now see these teams shifting and moving their positions around, and we'll see what's going to happen with this next Rift Herald. It's just been thrown down. No, correction, it hasn't been thrown down just yet. It was a recall there by Selfmade. So tower pressure by Fnatic.
The sheer gold difference, though, between Expect and Bwipo is massive. And again, on a champion like Gangplank, it means so much. They're probably going to wait for Gangplank Ultimate to come back up, and then, again, try to abuse that massive gold disparity on Bwipo.
Well, Caedrel and Expect just double teaming Bwipo. Powder Cake's thrown down. Fear Beyond Death is available. The railgun comes out from Patrik. Bwipo stays alive long enough.
Oh, maybe they've overreached.
Caedrel and Expect. Cannon Barrage comes down. Ragnarok is thrown out. One more hit needs to happen. Expect's in trouble. He's not going to survive. It's a double kill. Fnatic punish the overreach.
It's things like that. A top team in the LEC that they're able to just pull a rabbit out of a hat. You're like, clearly they've got a massive gold advantage on Gangplank. They're gonna walk them down. It'll turn into Herald. It's gonna be crisp, but it's always the creativity from Fnatic. It's the miracle plays that individually they are able to capitalize on.
Absolutely the case. Mickey gets caught by the Scat of the Week, gets chunked down by Unleashed Power, and the death sentence won't find his target. Bwipo survived that last play, and quickly, just so you know, Bwipo will be joining the caster desk for around 10 or so minutes on the next game. This is how he escaped just moments ago.
Okay, so a key thing here is that we said that they would wait for the Gangplank Ultimate. The Gangplank Ultimate is still on cooldown here. They activate just before it comes up, and think of how different that would have been if the same patience they had in the Herald fight would have been used there. But instead, they think they've got the kill. Bwipo is able to walk them out, and Selfmade comes to the rescue.
I didn't actually see the teleport interrupt from Mickey as well. That completed it. Not that it was needed, but it ended up just being used there. Rift Herald does get popped, interrupted. No, there we go. Just in secure correction.
Time now.
Thank you. As Hylissang's death sentence will be unable to do anything there, and the mist being used to at least threaten any sort of follow-up. Hylissang death sentence goes up but doesn't find a target. So the Rift Herald not used particularly effectively. Disappointed to see that from the XL squad.
I mean, there's no way that they could approach that tower to really guarantee. Fnatic did a wonderful job in terms of the defense. You, again, still don't have access now to Expect's ultimate, which that's going to be the big cooldown, especially now with how much gold is funneled into him specifically, that XL are going to feel confident maneuvering around. And Mickey was also in base. Yeah, he had the TP, but you don't want to waste that many cooldowns when what you should be fighting for is the Infernal.
Set up around the bottom lane. Vision is in favor of Fnatic. You can see Selfmade just waiting there in the mid lane. Mickey's going to dash forward.
Ooh, he missed the Scat of the Week.
Chains come down. Mickey ends up winning that trade quite convincingly. And we'll avoid the undertow as well. Keep your eyes on the minimap. The Dragon seems to be the focus here for Fnatic as a team.
I mean, it's the focus for both of them right now, and it's the mid laners that are trying to poke each other out, and it's Mickey who is winning this round. And again, as long as he can get a lot of this damage to stick and try to force someone to back, or in the best case scenario, actually just pop someone, that gives them access to the Infernal. And it's Fnatic now being like, we don't want to continue to trade these poke exchanges. Let's try to move into Fog of War and really set up a pick here for Nimi.
All right, Cannon Barrage is available for Expect. Bwipo and Expect have teleports available. They're in the top lane. Rekkles is still on his tower, and the rest of Fnatic haven't moved just yet. XL tag the Dragon.
I think this is a bit too early.
So what do you expect from this team fight? Frosk is now engaged in the mid lane. Unleashed Power comes down. Mickey stays alive. He has not been blown up just yet.
Yeah, it's a bit too early. It forced Mickey to be desperate to try to zone Nemesis, and now the real team fight.
Cannon Barrage is thrown out. Hylissang is completely zoned away. He puts the box down, uses the stopbox to stay alive. Caedrel is feared beyond death. Bwipo takes him out, and Toure flashes over the wall while that's going on. Expect and Selfmade are going toe-to-toe. The undertow will not secure the kill. Mickey's looking for the kill to Selfmade. The pop and the looters won't do it, but the railgun sends him packing. Now the Infernal's being focused down, and XL cannot contest.
XL tried way too hard to force that Infernal, moving in very early on, but Fnatic played not only the back half of that team fight very patiently, but the setup around the Infernal patiently. And yes, they did lose the kill, but they picked up the objective, and that's what matters.
Very excited to see what XL are putting down, but even happier to see how Fnatic are responding. We're 16 minutes in, we've got a dead even game. A Dragon apiece, 5 kills to 6, 500 gold I don't even care about, and not a single tower has fallen. This is going to set us up for a juicy, juicy mid game.
You're literally about to have a big team fight. Everyone's inventory is littered with control wards on both Fnatic and Excel side, and everyone is pinging towards Rift Herald. I think we just basically went from like one team fight. We're going to take a deep breath, try to get as many cooldowns up as quickly as possible, and then probably snowball directly into another team fight over this Herald.
What's very exciting is if Excel end up winning that team fight, that could be what snowballs them for the next objective. This is a team that has shown they can play the map. They can, you know, push through some victories. They're 2-2 right now, but this could be one of the big upsets to open the weekend. Oh, goodbye. Was that a double up and unleashed power? And that was tickets. End of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. But Fnatic, they are having none of it. First kill for Nemesis. And with the fact that Mickey's LeBlanc is down, they will now secure an uncontested Rift Herald. There is a lot of pings on the objective. Is anybody brave enough to try steal? I mean, Cannon Barrage is up in a second, not going to be worth it.
That pick is really devastating, though. Like, it's not going to end the game for Excel here, but think of how much time, gold, investment that they put in. Like, look at all of the wards around that pit for Mickey to just throw it away to Fnatic because Nemesis got the outplay on him.
Yeah, definitely, and instantly thrown down in the mid lane. The boop from Shelly should be enough to take this tower out. Nemesis will linger just close enough to secure the solo gold. Now all the pressure goes top lane. There's a dive on the cards.
Yeah, and it's so much tempo and momentum behind Fnatic as Hilly is feeling it.
He absolutely is. Death sentence thrown at the Toure. Patrik will not get taken out by the bullet time, but all of a sudden Exile respond. Now Mickey's back with the vengeance. He's got himself a double and he's not done chasing. Nemesis is the target as Toure won't find the tongue lash. The fruit is available to him. Cataclysm has already been used. Tongue lash goes wide once again. You need to lick to stick, and it won't find the target. Exile escape with their lives, but they defend the top lane tower, and now Bwipo, Fear Beyond Death is available to him. He's going to hold the trigger, and Exile got the tower down bottom.
That was a situation where I was like, does Bwipo have flash? Is he going to flash that wall? I fully expected it to happen. As everything calms down, though, I think the big takeaways are the fact that Expect got a lot of solo time on the bot side. I'll hold it, though, Mickey.
That was a real bold call.
And Nemesis is now getting all of this solo time with this tower up here. So Patrik doing his best, but he is playing with fire.
Oh, he's a little bit. Remember, there's no ultimate available to Nemesis. Patrik gets stunned. The railgun comes out. Almost got hit by the sphere. But Patrik's bold.
This is fun League of Legends, though, when people are playing like to that absolute line where they're literally just trying to outplay their opponent.
Death sentence, death sentence. Bwipo! Puts Patrik in the meat grinder.
Okay, that was cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, get everybody you know to watch this game. We are 20 minutes in, and it has just been fantastic. We are nowhere near finding out who will be in control, and we're not done with the chaos yet. Expect finds himself in trouble, gets caught, eats an orange, and he's okay. Well, the rest of Fnatic are pushing into the northern quadrant.
Yeah, it's still the fact that Fnatic are the ones that are aggressing onto Excel right now as they're trying to get both Rekkles and Selfmade into position, running them off the mid lane. Excel need to find a very quick reset on this map and kind of find some footing to get their breathing back under control because they're just kind of being suffocated by Fnatic right now.
How many of you viewers at home threw Excel's chances at a victory away before this game began? They are 20 minutes in, they are blow for blow, and they are really delivering. The thing that Frostgirl and I were talking so much about coming into this week, coming into this day in particular, was getting clarity on those middle-of-the-pack teams. We knew Excel wasn't at the bottom of the table, but I'm really excited to see how competitive they are being, despite a crazy game against Fnatic. They are trading blow for blow. Expect had a fantastic early game, and Caedrel was able to help get him ahead.
And I think that's kind of one of the good takeaways for Excel fans here. It's that if you saw an Excel victory, people were probably thinking that it was a really controlled, kind of slow game, because it does seem that Excel are a slower-paced team. But they, like you say, have been trying to go blow for blow with Fnatic and keep up with this breakneck pace that Fnatic force you into. They are constantly testing you. What is your decision? Will you make the right one? Can you outplay me? Can you dodge this? You better do it now. And it's just so draining. It's why G2 and Fnatic reign supreme in Europe.
And what I like very much is that Excel have succeeded in the skill checks numerous times. Yes, they've also been caught out numerous times, right? but that has been true several in a row. The third dragon is picked up now by Fnatic. There's still 1,000 gold in the advantage to XL. Distort is used in the bottom lane, so is the Cannon Barrage. And Mickey will now be stepping forward. While that's going on, the rest of XL are pushing in the mid lane. Bwipo continues to chase. Fear Beyond Death is available to him. Does he decide to fire? Not just yet. Tower number 3 was picked up in favor of Fnatic, while the rest of XL, I don't know if they've got enough minions to finish this one off, especially not if Nemesis can step forward, but the tower will go down anyway.
Yeah, it was really on the wire because, again, they have Senna as an ADC instead of a traditional ADC. If that was anyone else other than Senna, they would have had no problem going for that tower, but I think they got fortunate there that Hilly had delayed his back for so long, because if Thresh was in position, that's when Fnatic would look to turn it around. And speaking of turn...
Oh, definitely the case. Passive of LeBlanc doing a lot of work. Bwipo's ultimate's on cooldown. We didn't quite see how that trade played out, but Mickey's LeBlanc has really been interesting this game. He's picking a lot of fights. He's still 2-1-3, but there'll be a lot to discuss, I feel, once we get towards the end of this game.
It just feels like XL are in a difficult situation where they're having trouble dealing with how tanky Urgot is. And they've had Mickey facing off against from him, but Mickey is struggling not only in the Urgot matchup in a side lane, but also in the matchup with Nemesis' Syndra. And I'm not saying he can't beat the Syndra, but the last few times that we've seen it go down, it's Nemesis who is getting the better of him.
Oh, well, that was one of the examples. Nemesis takes, manages 5. Is this part of a package?
I think we're just watching some of the individual outplays.
Ah, there we go. Dun, 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 dun,
oh, it's the snipe.
Long range ulti! Oh, that really hurts. That really, really hurts. Now you're just showing off, observers. But I like it. Give me more of that, please. Let's just go a little way back, celebrate one of Bwipo's kills. If you have just joined us, XL clearly in a strong position for the first 10 minutes of this game.
Mickey?
Fnatic clearly in a strong 10 minutes from 10 to 20.
Mickey?
Death Sentence won't find a target. It may not be needed. The ultimate comes up by some time. Mickey with a help.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, please, all of Fnatic. It's not done yet. The Abyssal Void has brought in the rest of XL. Cataclysm is thrown down and Selfmade is locked inside the walls with the rest of XL. That was such a good outplay.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. That was so good. And with the Senna on top of it.
It absolutely blew my mind, Frostgurren, and it's not done yet. Hylissang throws down the flay. Teleport now coming in from Bwipo to the top lane. This is going to be a 3 versus 4. Bullet time is available and so is Fear Beyond Death. XL cannot make a mistake. Hilly's going to step forward. He's not going to find a target just yet, but they have dissuaded the Baron for now. And that is all that will be needed. XL are not done yet. Flash is available to Caedrel. Does he find another target?
But the thing is that XL had patience there. They could have looked to try to re-engage to force the fight onto Fnatic, but they got what they wanted, which was the teleport out of Bwipo. XL have been trying to figure out how to solve this issue into a side lane. Now they can do it. But let's look at the outplay here.
Right, so manages to dodge a lot of Hylissang's skill shots. The chains land.
And it's the flash dodge on the, oh my god, the Q from Olaf.
The undertow manages to escape with his life, but in the follow-up fight, finally Selfmade goes down. The scatter the weak, picking up that Dark Sphere from Nemesis, didn't find the target. Frost, there's no time to breathe, because we're right back into the Baron play. And the rest of XL, they need to engage. Mickey's got teleport available to him. Cannon Barrage is a few seconds out.
Okay, but can they buy enough time for this LeBlanc to get into position? Fnatic are going to try to burn this.
All right, they are 5,000 HP available. Mickey has not teleported. Now is starting. Cannon Barrage thrown on the back of the Fnatic. Cataclysm comes down, and they're looking for a target, but it's Rekkles that takes out Caedrel at the cost of Selfmade, though. And Mickey is running for his life. He's taken out. Rekkles isn't done yet. Finally, Bwipo goes down. So far it's a 2-4-2. We leave us and the Baron uncontested. We are still bang on even.
It was the fact that the tank line got annihilated from Fnatic, though, that they disengaged from the fight. There's no way for them to really safely approach, especially when you have a Tom Kench safety there, although Ward.
Oh, going to be clever. All right, XL had the gold lead, but Fnatic won the team fight, and they were the ones that started Baron. They're going to TP out of Mickey, they're going to Cannon Barrage out of Expect, and they've got themselves another Dragon available for the taking.
And now immediately using TPs to continue to have momentum in this game and turn towards the Cloud. Taking another look at this, again, we've said it time and time again, you're seeing that classic patience coming out of XL so that all of their combos are layering correctly. The fact that Caedrel doesn't go in until LeBlanc is in position to follow up, but I just don't think they expected the upfront damage there from Fnatic on the front of the pit.
And I mean, all credit to Rekkles as well. Like, in the chaos of it all, finding the right targets completely untouched. He's 2-0-1. The game has been played around him, but now that he's sort of involved in it, still flawless position.
And also really important that during that replay, Fnatic picked up the second Cloud Drake, and obviously when you have a composition with Rekkles on something like a Misfortune, having double Cloud for that CDR on the ultimate feels really nice.
Yeah, very important. Rapid Fire Cannon, Essence Reaver, and Infinity Edge completed. Patrik, Rapid Fire Cannon, Duskblade Attract Thought, the Mirror Mana. Now, the game is going to revolve around Baron. We've had 22 kills, 27 minutes. It has been outplays and misplays aplenty, but so exciting to watch. Banshee's Veil does get popped, and Unleashed Power thrown out by Nemesis. I think Mickey's definitely playing with his life, but he gets away with it that time.
It is so scary to watch Mickey repeatedly just kind of face check into complete darkness.
So Youthful Buck is definitely nervous and clenching backstage, but look at that barrel damage. Selfmade gets into so much trouble, but Hylissang's got the Lantern available. He manages to pull Selfmade to safety, but this will give XL some time on the Baron.
And you can see that Mickey is still in the mid lane trying to provide kind of that human Nidalee spear of dissuading Fnatic. Fnatic have a very tough decision here. Do they face check the Baron or do they try to run it up mid? They're going for the Baron.
There's absolutely no Cannon Barrage available. Selfmade is not there. This is a 5 versus 4. For now, the Baron is very, very low. 2,000 HP, 1,000 HP. Bullet time comes down. It's picked up by XL, but Caedrel's in trouble. Forced to use his stopwatch to stay alive. Now Expect is being run down by Bwipo. Here comes Rekkles, pulled up by the Lantern. Fight on multiple fronts. Mickey's looking for another. Gets caught, manages to escape with his life, but Bwipo's not done yet. He's chasing with a shotgun knees, can't find a target. Only Nemesis dies to pick up 4 from XL, but they did get the Baron. Net positive Fnatic if they can push into the base.
And they are going to get so much more off of this. The fact that the minion wave is crashing behind them, the fact that they're tanking it up so they're not expending any of their minions as they slay through this. Fnatic might end the game here.
This 30-second death time is a multiple members of XL. The inhibitor's going to fall. Fnatic are looking at the Nexus turret. Mickey needs to do something magical. He's looking for a target. The Death Sentence doesn't find him. The Nexus turret falls. The second is the target, and Mickey gets caught by the flay. He's trying to kill a support. It's not going to be enough. The Nexus is the focus, and it starts to go down. Fnatic take out XL.
You must make the right decision. You must make it quickly. You must make it repeatedly. That is what Fnatic tests you on. They never let you have room to breathe, to really just look at the map. They are constantly changing the state of the game, constantly challenging you.
I had no idea what was going to happen next in that game, and it ended as it played out. I had no idea what was coming. It was chaotic and entertaining and full of individual moments.